breakfast as their menu item of the day.
You know what exactly. You know what very few people understand as well. Cops don't want to sit in court
No, why
all
would
day.
they? No.
Okay. The prosecutor is paid to be there. And
Right.
even the prosecutor, for the most part, I would say probably about 95% of them don't want to be there either.
Well, and it's not like they get to play video games or something on their phone. It's almost like a timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they sit back in court and the cops are just bored.
Yeah.
They're usually lined up along the back wall or they're outside
You know
and
what I'm thinking we do? Because I mean, you love cops, I love cops. We all want to celebrate cops because they
yep,
provide safety and they keep us they keep our communities really gelling that there should be humanity and civility, right? So I
yes.
think just like the Gideon Bible is in every single, I think we should have your book available for all the police officers to read while they're in court.
When you actually try to sell somebody your product, okay, you only have about a 1 to 2% chance of being able to sell them the first time you speak to them because they're not in a buying mode at that point. They're in an information gathering mode.
Right.
The problem is, first of all, half of businesses that get a lead don't even bother to make that first pitch.
Right.
Okay, the lead just gets squandered. Okay, they do nothing with it, which is amazing to me. But then, out of that remaining half of those again give up after 2 tries. Okay, but
you've been in like 4 of these. You're a yes person. You hear an opportunity and you step up and you really take it. What would you say to people about the community, the quality of people? Because you got to host, you didn't just step in a guest, you stepped in a host. And so you get on average 7 spots instead of 1. And one of these, it wasn't a smile-a-thon, but it was the author-thon, and it was the baldathon that you were in 2 of them, and you really stepped up. Welcome to the Dr. Smiley Show. Sometimes people think I'm playing all kinds of illusionist tricks. I'm not a magician, but yes, there are not 2 of me. There is another person in the screen who is not me, but is ridiculously handsome. So I would like to welcome Dr. Brian Livingston, not just an amazing leader, not just a person who thinks so far outside the box, but truly a friend. And so, Brian, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ken. I appreciate you coming on. I like the doctor title too, but we'll just go with Mister for me.
Okay, just Mister. Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you, I want you to be Dr. Baldy or
Okay.
Doc something like that. So
There you go. How about
you
Doctor Sexy Pants? Does that
oh,
work?
that's really good.
There
Yeah,
you go.
let's do that. So Dr. Sexy Pants. So a lot has happened this year. And if I interviewed you last year, it's not that there would be a dull show because you've led an interesting life. But I think this year has been, from what I've observed, pinnacle in appearance, pinnacle in mindset, pinnacle in legacy. I mean, it just is. I only know you this year, but as a friend, if I'd gone through the journey of high school, I mean, I go, wow, this is your year.
It's been incredible. It's been a rush. It's been exciting. Honestly, one of my highlights of 2025 was being able to meet you out at the summit at Jim Cathcart's CPE summit.
Yep.
That was absolutely incredible, and the journey that you have assisted and guided me on has just been an absolute blast so far, and I'm looking forward to the rest.
And compliment back to you. This is a year where I think I had someone put down like playing big. It's that your mind is willing to be humanity of power. And playing big sometimes sounds like you're trying to become a celebrity, but I was coached or schooled on the fact that playing big can be a derogatory comment. So I'll say playing big in the guise of being a stand for humanity.
Oh, I appreciate that.
And
Yeah.
so you have been along the ride with me where I have shifted from marketing, media, publishing into really publicity and larger media. And
Yeah.
you've always been the guy that I can call and say, can you help? And you say, yeah, I'm happy to, Ken. So you've been on, gosh, I'd say at least 4 events with lots of involvement, like hosting, etc. So I want to give a shout out to Jim Cathcart for throwing a mastermind that allowed us to meet. I also want to throw a shout out to Beth Robbins, who happens to have her book on our new banner right here. Look at that. Seize the day with a smile. And I think she's got this one too, Courage. So if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have been invited to that. But here's the weird part you don't know. Beth was a new client. And I said, you've got to meet a new person I've just met at a mastermind of Craig Duswalt. And Jim Cathcart, I met him for the first time, saw him sing, and we hit it off. And then I said, the two of you need to meet. And that's how I got the invitation.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
That's awesome.
I call that the power of three. Um, the power of the third party endorsement. Don't worry about yourself. Put two people together that belong together, and it'll come back in some other way.
Yeah. Yeah.
And,
No, and Beth is amazing. I got the opportunity to meet her at the summit and talk with her a bit, and she's absolutely incredible.
yes, indeed. So all those things, the stars lined up, and two bald twins got to hang out at lunch and then grow a friendship. So I wanted to let people know that on the Dr. Smiley Show, if you look up Dr. Smiley and Brian Livingston, you'll see he's on a handful, and not to mention he's hosted. So he's introduced and helped people really shine that day. But I do want to show the event he's going to be on this Saturday. And here it is right here. So if you would like to see Brian, and by the way, if you're a Canadian and you speak Canadian, you're welcome to come on the International Smile Day, because before May 30th, it was US only. So it was National Smile Day, May 30th. This is the world. So I made the card for y'all. It says keep smiling, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Eh? How's it going, eh?
So I would like to show off your books right out of the gate. Why don't you show one and then show the other and then show both? Is that cool? So
Eh,
show the one okay, so that one is your second book, but technically it was your first mindset that
yeah.
we talked about, right?
Sorry, there's the first one.
No, there's no apology. And what I'm saying is you grew from that to that, but you
Yep.
did them out of order. Because this is where you can help people the most in business, whereas the other
Yep.
one you can help more with a consumer. So we're going to go deeper into that. And I think what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to go on Amazon and just show people that they can get it. And Jeff Bezos didn't mail me your copy in time. I just want to let you know that.
Well, if you're not on like a buddy basis, like cruising on his yacht, I'm not getting the invites for either.
Well,
But
I commend you, because I was like, hey, you got your copy, I didn't get mine, so I guess you have to hold yours up. So I'm guilty. I've been on the road so much. I think I was later than you in the order is probably what happened.
no,
Or Al sent it to me after he sent you. But here are the two. I want to go in this order. I want to go in how to beat a speed ticket first.
sure.
And this is $2.99 on Kindle. We are not doing an Amazon bestseller today, but when you see this video, there's a high chance we are. So we're doing that later in October. And why don't we just take a gander at this? This is brand new, brand spanking new. Gosh, how many days has this been up? Maybe a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I waited for this podcast before I even did any announcement on it. So I'll be announcing it today.
Yeah, and Daniel, he did both your covers, Daniel
Yeah,
Paramonte.
he's
Um,
amazing.
he is amazing, and he's changed how big Perfect Publishing looks. I mean, all this stuff here is a collaboration of probably three or four designers, but he's taken it up to movie. I mean, you could see this and say, is Jim Carrey gonna be starring in this movie?
Exactly. Liar, liar.
Exactly.
Yep.
So tell about this cover real quick. We're gonna put it back to you in a second, but tell about the cover. Why'd you pick this cover?
Just because, we wanted to let people see the confidence that a person has that they're going to be able to have by being able to go into court in front of a judge and be able to represent themselves. And I thought just really epitomized it that she's won. She's kind of making a little fun of the prosecutor, going, haha,
Yep.
you know, and which is always fun when I get to do that too. But we can talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But it's I just think it really epitomized the reason for the book.
Yeah. So normally we'd go in the route of who is Brian Livingston, but I wanted to go into these books because who Brian Livingston is a person who solves problems. And I want to show the two books and how you solve problems. So let's just take a 1 minute synopsis before we go deep in this. What is the reason that you did this book?
Okay, so do you know what pucker factor is, Ken?
Only because I know you.
Okay, so over 100,000 people in the US and another 10,000 in Canada suffer from pucker factor every day.
Mm,
Okay, and for those that don't know it, I'm trying to help cure this happening to 110,000 people. Pucker factor is when you're driving along, just kind of minding your own business, and all of a sudden you look in rear view mirror and you see the red and blues flashing behind you, and you hear that chirp, right? The siren comes on, and literally your hands go to 10 and 2, and your butt puckers the upholstery of your seat. Just grabs it and pulls it up because all of a sudden you clench, right?
you know,
And
and it's also an indirect experience when someone else describes a story. You like when someone gets kicked in the you know what in
yeah.
soccer or something. You oh
Mm, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what it's like for people. And so many people just pay it and they don't understand their rights. And they don't understand when they go into court what to even say and do.
hmm,
I've been going to court for over 2 decades for people since I quit being a cop. And they just they don't know what they're doing when they get to court. And so they get run over by the prosecutor, they get run over by the judge. And so now all of a sudden they're cowed, so they don't ever want to try it again either.
right. And what gives you the right to say I know how to get through this system?
Okay, well, I used to be a police officer. More importantly, I kind of specialized in being a traffic cop. I was what's called an expert in court in relation to collision investigation. More importantly, I was a laser and or LiDAR as it's known, but it's called they colloquially they refer to it as laser and radar. So I taught police officers how to do all of this, and
Hmm,
I taught traffic law as well. And so once I got out of policing, I actually literally just needed a job all of a
right.
sudden. There's a long story behind that, but I made a couple calls because I saw that people fight traffic tickets. And so I made a call, and the next day I was started into the industry, and that was in 2003.
So it's a little like the accountants that help with IRS issues and hire IRS past employees that know the system and know not just how to break it, but how legally it's flawed and
Yeah.
how to get your rights exercised.
Yeah. And the thing is, like we provide kind of a Cadillac service for people. Okay. So not like honestly, not everybody can afford us. And so the reason for the book was really written for those people that can't afford us. Or, for example, if you've got a ticket in Omaha, well, I live in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Well, it's not cost feasible to fly me to Omaha, right, to have me fight your ticket. But now all of a sudden you can have this, and you can go and you can represent yourself on that speeding ticket, and we give questions, we give facts, we literally walk you A through Z through the process of what to do because this is what we've been doing for 22 years.
Yeah, I don't want the audience to be misunderstand what you just said. So I'm gonna lay it down to where I know that you shared it with me clearly. You have three pathways. One pathway is get the book and do it yourself. The other
Yeah,
pathway is make the call and get the advisement from somebody that you have trusted that has gotten the results for people with people. And then the
yeah,
third is get representation.
yeah,
Second. Okay. So the reason I say that is because your Cadillac service only hits the third one.
exactly.
The second one is a hybrid where I don't want to read the book, but I believe you. Help me help myself. And it's not crazy expensive. You're making your money back on the ticket, and you're also making your money back on the insurance Escalade, right?
And that's the problem that people really don't understand are the insurance implications.
Yes.
Like the whole industry just thrives on each other,
Yeah.
right? You get a ticket, you have to pay a fine. Well, you pay the fine, then you get an insurance increase. And
Yep.
all of a sudden the big insurance corporations are just getting bigger and bigger for every single bit of revenue that the police are bringing in. And as a former cop, I don't care how much you want to tell me, and I'll say this right now, don't tell me it's about public safety. It's about revenue. It's an involuntary tax. If it wasn't, you wouldn't budget for it. Okay.
I know. So we're going to take a little break right now. So we're diverting. We did the International Smile Day break. Now we're doing the International Keep Smiling book break, because I don't think people know that this card has been translated so effectively in Canadian. So let's go ahead and look at that real quick. Now, I don't owe you an apology, but I do want to explain that this book has 48 languages. It does not include the new Keep Smiling Y'all, which is Texas, but I'm only going to go a couple. There's Armenian. And by the way, she just got me a beautiful award by nominating me in New Jersey for media. And then
Oh,
this is,
that's
of course,
awesome.
Australian, mate. There's Bangladesh and Bulgarian. But this is why I wanted to go here. That person there, I want to introduce you to him later after the show. And he might be sad, but there's going to be a new version. And Brian, you're going to be on this page.
Oh, beautiful. Well,
So
I'm
you'll
sorry to bump them.
well,
But
he is in other books, and I do have a book called Keep Smiling, and it's a Canadian book. So maybe during another break during the show, we'll show the Canadian book. But I am very excited about the Canadian book because there's some lovely people I've met up in Canada. You guys do it right up there. You make us proud.
well, we try. We're definitely calmer
Yeah.
than than some other locales in the world right now.
Yes.
But we do try. But as they say, we get our elbows up when the need arises.
Well, and if it's hockey,
Yeah, exactly. We go to our hockey background.
but just a little tidbit. I mean, we have been two countries that have been wonderful allies to each other. I mean,
Yes.
we've gotten each other out of World War conflicts.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
pretty cool.
It's an incredible relationship that we've had for centuries,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, I might come up there and hug you.
There we go. Come on up.
All right, so let's go back to the front of the show. Ironically, we did a little teaser with this, and he has so much more content. And by the way, you haven't heard about the book and the depth of what mistakes you make. So there's some stuff you want to hang around for. But let's talk about Brian Livingston. And what's your middle name?
William.
William. So Brian William Livingston, would you please share where you're born and what your childhood was like?
Okay. I was born in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. I was born
That's a
with
mouthful, by the way. I just want to say that you can't learn that in your first year of being alive.
no, it takes until about a year and a half. Then you speak fluent Saskatchewanonian.
Is that so? Say it again. I want to practice today.
Saskatchewan.
Indian, native
Yep.
Indian. Okay. Any
Yep.
meaning? Any meaning you want to share?
Honestly, I'm not sure.
We're gonna
If I
look it
knew
up.
it, I forgot it a long time ago.
Okay. And then tell me about your mom, dad, your childhood.
Okay, well, I was born Christopher Whitaker. I was put up for adoption, and I was, adopted by a wonderful, wonderful family. I'm so grateful, really. Um, I know the circumstances since I've met my birth family. But I'm very grateful. I was given to a very loving family. An older brother that has just been a godsend throughout my entire life. He's absolutely amazing. He's a doctor down in Flagler Beach. Absolutely amazing. I couldn't have asked for more. Growing up, my dad pushed us very heavily into athletics. I got into basketball. I was a swimmer when I was younger. My brother was actually on the national team. for a while. He went Div 1 actually to BYU for swimming. Um, and I played basketball. We lost in the Canada Games final in 1989. It was very, very bumming because we were in our home province for the Canada Games final, but we lost. Got our ass handed to us by BC, British Columbia. Then I played basketball in university, University of Regina, University of Victoria. Always figured I was going to go and play pro ball somewhere, and blew out both my Achilles tendons
Oh wow.
separately. I blew out the first one and actually went back and played another year at the University of Victoria. Incredible basketball heritage school, incredible. And then blew out the second one. And then it was like, okay, well, basketball career is over. Um, I need to find a career. So,
Well, that's pretty cool. I'm glad you're coming back because I couldn't help myself to learn a little more about you, the place you were born. So
gotcha.
yeah. And by the way, I haven't practiced enough to be confident to say it, but Sus, say it. Sus,
Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan,
Yep.
Saskatchewan. I got better.
Yep. There you
Saskatchewan.
go.
All right.
Nailed
So
it.
I want to. I mean, there's some people, believe it or not, in the world that don't know this place. So this is yeah, how beautiful it is, and here's the map. That's it, right?
Yep.
And I found something funny that I'll show after this, but there's all kinds of interesting information. It's known for the vast prairie landscapes and the land of the living skies. It apparently gets pretty cold there.
It goes beyond cold,
Yeah,
can it?
like under
It's
24.
it gets to effing cold is actually the technical term.
Yeah, and I see here that you guys were thinking about becoming the 51st state of the United States. Is that well,
Oh,
look at this. I mean, I'm not making this up. Look at this.
yeah,
Isn't that
yeah,
funny?
yeah. Oh no, it's
And
definitely,
there's some
see,
great trivia here. It's like, are coffee breaks mandatory, and is there a 3 hour rule for employment? I mean, you guys got some good stuff on the internet here.
there you go. That's all that matters. It's how do we feel about annexation and uh, whether or not we serve poutine everywhere. That's what you really need to know.
So, what was a defining moment in your childhood that caused you to be who you are today?
Um, I don't necessarily know if there was a big defining moment in my childhood. I think, um, one of the biggest things about it, honestly, would be my brother. Just my brother has been a constant guide there for me. He's always been that voice of reason when the crazy takes over in me, and
Yeah.
he brings it back down to earth. I think just really having his guidance throughout my life has just been incredible for me.
Is the next transition in your story going into law enforcement?
Yes, after basketball,
Yeah.
that there was an event that brought me into law enforcement, and I needed a career, and I was like, well, you know what? I ended up meeting a cop through an event, and I was like, well, what the heck? It's a career,
Yeah,
right?
you're like, hey, officer, I know I was speeding. I'd like to know more about your career.
Actually, it's a long story, but suffice it to say, it involved somebody beating up one of my friends,
Huh?
and this guy being scared crapless of me, because at the time I was like 6'5", 225,
Hmm.
and the cops used me to actually help to get the guy arrested.
Oh wow.
And so I got to know them a little bit, and they were like, man, no, dude, you're exactly what we're looking for.
Isn't that
So
interesting? Your friend helped you get in that career.
yeah, exactly, by getting his butt kicked.
Yeah. So the Achilles tendons, you both of them, right? So you
Yep,
you had one, and you were like, "That's so much fun. I want to do it just one more time."
exactly. I wanted and that's the way I've done business. Like I do it wrong the first time. Well, if at first you don't succeed,
Well, yours is more like if it's first you don't fail, just fail one more time. It sounds
Exactly.
like.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
how does one knock out both? I mean, one is one I don't even know how to do, but how do you do both?
I had bone, what turns out happening, I had bone deformities in both my heels. So as I got like repeated ankle trauma because you're twisting your
Yep.
ankles, you're
Right.
spraining them, everything. Um, and I was slowly fraying
Ah.
the Achilles tendon, and at the same time, it was almost like it was almost calcifying. So
Mhm.
when it snapped, okay, when they went to pull it back together on both legs, one leg was missing 8 inches of tendon, like it just exploded like
Yeah.
shrapnel,
Yeah.
and the other one was 10 inches. So
Did it
my
happen at the same time?
what? No, separately. One was
That's what I
in
thought.
93 and the other one was in 94.
So if someone wanted to experience the snap of the Achilles tendon, you have to go to a doctor to get the ankle deformity to start wearing it.
Yeah, exactly. Just say, can you slap on some bone? Because I want to experience this.
Most likely the silliest moment of the show, right here. Okay, so moving along, you the officer, and then how many years did you do that?
5 years.
5 years, and that gave you
Five
enough
years.
information to say, you know what, I want to not be here anymore.
Um, Honestly, I hit the PTSD mental health.
Yeah, you told me about that.
I actually hit it pretty early in my career. Um, and eventually without going into deep detail on it, I had to make a decision as to whether or not I wanted to keep my wife, and whether or not I wanted to keep our two young daughters,
Hmm.
and whether or not, honestly, I wanted to keep my life
Right,
because that was the direction it was all going towards. And so I stepped away. Uh, the career that I was really kind of looking at wanting to get into, long story again, kind of went down when the Twin Towers went down, September 11th, 2001. I'd
yeah,
actually flown out there for a job. So I was actually in New York. And then that job just kind of disappeared with all the
right,
panic and everything that was going around. So, I got out of policing, and then throughout that other stuff, I literally was just like, well, I saw a billboard on the side of the road that says, "We fight your traffic tickets." This is an industry because, well, we'd moved to Alberta, okay, and which is to the west of Saskatchewan, and Saskatchewan didn't have anybody that fought traffic tickets. The lawyers didn't fight traffic tickets, right? But in Alberta, you didn't have to be a lawyer to fight traffic tickets. Okay, you could represent people as an agent. So I made a call. The first business was like, "Oh, the owner's away on holidays." The second guy was like, "Well, what are your qualifications?" So I told him what my qualifications were, and he interviewed me the next day. And then I was kind of set down the path of doing this, and it's awesome.
yeah.
Being being able to represent people and actually help them. And I've figured out that over the course of 22 years, um, I'd probably save people at least $10 million in insurance premiums.
You did not save me 10 million. I'm going to say that right for the record.
Not,
Not
not you, but you need to stop speeding. So that's your
I
own
do.
fault.
So let's talk about what the cost is to work with you, or maybe that middle one. Okay, like
Okay.
let's take it this way, Brian. Average ticket. What's your recommendation? Let's do that.
Okay. Well, first of all, with any ticket, you need to find out whether or not it's going to affect your driving record
Right.
and whether or not it's going to affect your insurance premiums.
Right.
Okay. If it is, then you need to do your best to be able to try and either get that charge amended to something that isn't going to affect your license and possibly your job, you know, whether or not it's going to affect your insurance or minimize that damage. Okay.
Hmm.
Um, And if it's not, well then, you've also got to look at the cost benefit analysis to this, right? Like I have people who work out on the pipelines that are like, well, I make like $1,000 a day. It's cheaper for me to just hire you guys, right? So and obviously we're better at it than they are. But it's a cost benefit analysis to
Right.
them right across the board. Um, but you've got to look at it and say, do I have the time? Is there going to be a cost benefit to me doing this? But then the final part is, what do I do?
Yep.
Right. And so like you said, we've got three parts. Okay. The one is the book. The other is to hire someone like myself. And my business, my partner, the middle part is getting a hold of what's called disclosure. I call it an evidence review because people hear the word disclosure and they don't know what it means. Okay. But have you seen My Cousin Vinny? Okay. Well, when Joe Pesci's all amazed, they're like, he gave me all this evidence. Look at this. I think Maria, gosh, I can't remember, Tomei or whatever
Yeah.
it is.
Man.
Yeah, she's like, they have to give that to you, right? You idiot. Okay, well, you're entitled to the evidence that they may or may not use against you
Right.
in trial. So you're entitled to see it first to decide how they're going to go about trying to convict you. Because until you either pay it or there's a conviction in the court, it's not done yet. Just it's an allegation
Right.
at this point. And so you can get a hold of the evidence, but the problem is people get a hold of the evidence and they go, I have no idea what any of this means.
Of course.
Right. And so what we offer is we actually offer an evidence review. Okay. And so we will go through it, we'll review everything, and then we will do a Zoom call with you and explain to you how to go about defending yourself. Okay. These are our notes. Here you go. It's recorded so that you can then, we send the
Review it.
recording note to you. So then you can make your notes and you can be prepared to go to trial.
And that's the hybrid
Yeah,
version.
exactly. That's the middle ground.
So percentage wise, I'm not holding you to this, but just a guesstimate. How many tickets are reversible or lowered using your system?
Well, using our system,
Yeah.
well, we have probably about a 99% success rate.
So it's very, very rare that you would hear something that you could not reduce in either the cost benefit analysis or the insurance premiums working into the factor that it justifies the expense.
Exactly.
Is your Cadillac service, is that about 1,000?
Depends on the type of ticket, depends on whether or not we've got to travel, but we start at 597 and we can work up to $2,000 if I'm
But it's
being
proportional.
involved.
It's proportional in effort. It's proportional in the difficulty of the case is going to be to.
Exactly.
Right, right.
Yep.
Understood. Okay, great. Well, that I think deserves everyone buying the book in the world.
Well, it gets you armed, so that you know what you're talking about in court.
Well, you know what I think is a great idea. You buy the book, speed, and they get pulled over. Just hold it at the window, and they're going to say, "Okay, okay, okay."
Exactly. Exactly. It's done right there. Oh, they go, oh my gosh, you got Brian's book.
Yeah, they're like, I really don't want to waste a day of my life in court just to lose on this situation. Go on, and by the way, I watch Cousin Vinny too, and they say maybe we can watch Cousin Vinny together. Like they'll actually become friends with the person that was speeding,
There you go.
and they might even go out to the and get some grits, and choose breakfast as their menu item of the day.
What exactly. You know what very few people understand as well. Cops don't want to sit in court
No, why
all
would
day.
they? No,
Okay. The prosecutor is paid to be there. And
right.
even the prosecutor, for the most part, I would say probably about 95% of them don't want to be there either.
Well, and it's not like they get to play video games or something on their phone. It's almost like a timeout.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and so they sit back in court, and the cops are just bored.
yeah.
They're usually lined up along the back wall, or they're
You
outside,
know
and
what I'm thinking we do? Because I mean, you love cops, I love cops. We all want to celebrate cops because they
yep,
provide safety and they keep us they keep our communities really gelling that there should be humanity and civility, right? So I
yes,
think just like the Gideon Bible is in every single, I think we should have your book available for all the police officers to read while they're in court, waiting for their time not to be bored.
I think every department should reach out to us.
This is great.
I think that's a great plan. Every department across the world,
Yes.
reach out and let's get our book.
And for the criminals, we do not want you buying this. We do not want you buying this book. We don't want you even knowing about it. So if you're a criminal, turn off this show right now. Is that
You
fair, Brian? Because we're not
that
trying.
that is very fair. We're not teaching you how to be a better speeder either.
Right.
We
Yeah.
just
Yeah. And by the way, there are so many speed traps and there's so many things that the government makes money on because they know it's an area where you're not paying attention to the drop in the speed or whatever. So I
yeah,
think this book is very needed, and I applaud you because I do in DC with those photo cams. And by the way, there's no hit on my insurance; that you just pay the
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
But the point is, you could fight something like that, right?
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, you just need to know like the specific laws for the state or the
great,
province, right? But yeah, you definitely can. It's the same concept behind everything, right?
cool.
In terms of speed.
Okay. Well, let's move to your other book because your other book is more applicable to the entrepreneurial dream and the entrepreneurial dream being shattered as we've had conversations about this before, but 80% of businesses go out of business because they don't know all the legs that you have to have in place for it to be a stable business. And the ones that survive, they don't necessarily survive with abundance. They just survive the whack out of the people that got the bigger anchors. Then you have another 80% of them. So it is a long shot to be successful in business. And what you have done is identified a lot of anchors that hold businesses back. And inevitably, it's like saying, hey, would you like to go to the Olympics and race? Let me just put on an extra 40 pounds of lard and just, go ahead and compete.
Yep,
So,
yep. Which is good if you got the sumo uh, Olympic sumo contest. But
yeah. And by the way, watching Cousin Vinny doesn't mean your business is going to do better. It just means you'll be happier that night.
yep,
So,
exactly.
so let's take a deep dive. Show the book, and I'm going to actually pull the book up on Amazon as well.
Sure.
And let's go ahead and get the good old Amazon. So you got that up, right? And then we're going to go ahead and show the other book because I think it's a really powerful cover. This cover definitely identifies what we were
Yeah,
talking about
Daniel
earlier.
Daniel nailed it.
Yes, yes, he did. So I'm going to go ahead and put this on Amazon for a second. All right. So here we go. And this one is 99 cents. So you can't make a better investment on your business. I mean, cut the anchors, 22 hidden revenue killers and how to overcome them. And again, this is the cut through. And, it implies so many things when you cut through them, you're not just flying and you're going through with very little friction, but you're balancing your life. You're able to live your life the way you want to live it. So,
Yep, completely.
um, and this is doing rather well. Look at it. 20 people are very happy with 5 stars. And I know the book has only been out about a month or so. So congratulations on that. I know it's continually being reviewed and revered as a wonderful book to have in your library as a business or an entrepreneur.
Yeah, well,
So,
I'm loving to see such positive feedback on it. Because it really is meant for that small business owner who just doesn't know. Like so many people get into business, okay, because they're good at something, right? But it doesn't mean that you're good at marketing. It doesn't mean that you're good at sales. It means that you're good at turning a wrench or, whatever your career may be,
right.
right? And there's so many things. And we joked earlier about doing things twice, right? When I got into business, I did not have a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so I did everything the hard way. I did it all through trial and error. and so I always joke, I go, I didn't think it worked the first time, so hell, let's do it again, right? Um, you know, and so I want businesses to be able to understand there's all these anchors, and you don't have to read, like, people look at it and they go, 22, oh my gosh, that's overwhelming, right? I mean, pick one.
Right.
Just start at chapter one. Don't even go into chapter two yet. Look at chapter one. We break it down very simply for you. It's not a deep theoretical, philosophical analysis of stuff. This is just, here's the anchor, here's how you're going to cut it. Okay. And then we give people action steps to do to cut all those different anchors off their business so that it can do it. You know, when we do revenue analysis of small businesses, not a single one out of all the ones that I've done has gotten chapter one right yet.
Hmm.
Not one. Okay. And if you're not getting chapter one right, that's like tying yourself to the Empire State Building for an anchor.
Yep. So let me let me divert for a second. If I was to pick, knowing your book, and I was 18 again, starting my first business, I would still get the E-Myth. I'd still get Swim with the Sharks. I would add Tipping Point, Outliers, and I'd add this book as 5 books that will dramatically increase your ability to succeed in your business and not make the mistakes that you're inevitably going to make. And I want to take a little diversion to a book that is a complementary book in the strategy in which you're speaking. 22 anchors means you have 22 strings pointing down at different weights. And that when you cut certain ones, there's a wonderful video about how physics affects the speed of the Pinewood Derby in Boy Scouts. And he goes over 11 physics factors or 10, whatever it is. He says, if you do this particular thing with the wheels, you've increased the speed by 0.06. It's all these things. And it's that mentality. Well, I want to show you one that is going to get another conversation going. This is Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. And I did a search for Malcolm Gladwell shares about airlines having accidents. So in chapter 7, he goes into plane crashes, and Korean Air at that time was notably having way more crashes than all other airlines. And what the chapter goes into is, for you to have an accident as an airline, as a pilot, as a plane going and being demised, it's roughly 7 things have to be anchors. 7 things
Oh,
have to be happening. If one thing is happening, bad weather, probably not going to have an accident. If your pilot's super tired, probably not going to have an accident. It's all these different things. And they were able to add up that Korean Air had, on average, 7 or more things going wrong at a time. For instance, the pilot and the co-pilot not communicating because the co-pilot was afraid that his senior pilot, he'd offend him. And in normal training, US and other countries, the senior pilot, is not called chief or anything like that. They're called Bob or Brian or whatever their name is, because they need to both be equal in that cockpit. And if they're not equal, one person's opinion does not matter. So if the co-pilot doesn't have anything to say because he can't say because he's afraid he's going to get in trouble, you have more. That's one more thing as an anchor. And I just share that with you to say that was such an illuminating, when people say, I'm so afraid of flying, and they say it's the safest way compared to
yeah,
cars. It's because there has to be so many things wrong before a plane goes down, because Bernoulli's principle of going through the air is pretty sound.
yeah, yeah. Seems to be working.
Yeah, it seems to be working. So let's go into not the 22, but let's be ambitious and go between 2 and 7. 2 and 7 things that you're going to just give away, that if they read it, they're just going to be more successful in business. Why don't you take the top 2, so we're at 20, and then maybe pick between another 1 and 5. All right, is that cool?
Sure, I'd love to, and I think where we really want to dive in is chapter one, and it's all about clarity. All right, because if you when I say to a business owner, can you describe the number one problem that you solve?
Yeah.
Right? Business owners can't articulate that. And so if you don't know what problem you're solving, everything in your business is off. I don't care what you're doing. Okay. But people need to understand that when I'm coming to your business, if I'm looking at your business, it's because I have a problem and I need to know whether or not you're going to solve it. Okay.
And
And you don't,
you did this with me, Brian. Like you asked me before you became an author with us, you said, what is the problem that you solve?
yeah,
And we saw the biggest problem wasn't that you can't make a great book, because there's a lot of publishers who make a great book, but most publishers don't focus on the impact or the ROI or the sales funnel that should happen from a book.
yeah, which is, like I was just astounded with your answer, because I'm so used to businesses going, well, um, I fix broken pipes. Oh, okay. For example, right?
Right.
Or I fix carburetors. Okay, but that's not the problem.
Right.
Okay. The problem is not a broken carburetor. The problem is the fact of I can't get to work today.
Right.
Okay. It's minus 40 and my car won't start.
Right.
Okay. That's the problem that they want to know that you can solve.
May I interject?
Yes, you sure can.
Because this is such a you're going to love this guy. His name is David Corbin, and he kids around on stage. He goes, because I worked with this company, I'm not allowed to say the company's name, but I help them and they're in business because of my help. And I'll just give you this: they rhyme with Schlomino's. And so he asked Domino's, "What business are you in?" And of course, they said something like you just indicated with the plumber. We're in the pizza business. He goes, "No, you're not in the pizza business. You're in the I don't know what I'm going to eat in an hour
Yep.
problem solution." Because when people called Domino's, they would put, "I'm putting you on hold," and they would, keep them on hold like they didn't care. And they changed the whole thing of, "Hey, I'm here to help you. Can I put you on hold? We're going to solve your problem. We're going to solve
Yeah.
your problem." And they say, "What do you need?" And they say, "Well, I got to feed my kids in an hour. We got to go to soccer." And they go, "This is the deal. You should get that." And it went through the roof. And then the president, he had the president talk about the fact that their pizza didn't taste that good. He goes, "I know our pizza doesn't taste good. We're fixing that." Like they changed Domino's because of a person like you, a
Yep.
person like you saying, "You don't know what business you're in."
Yep. And that's the thing. Like you're in almost all aspects, you've got to remember that you're providing a service,
Mhm.
first of all, but you're providing a solution to their problem. And you've got 5 seconds to grab their attention,
Exactly.
right? And so, I look at websites and I see verbal diarrhea. Okay. And it's just, and there's just like narrative and
Yeah.
like an eight font, and you're just like lost me.
Yeah, the 5 seconds is up. I don't have 2 hours to see if you can figure out. And by the way, there's this another saying. I don't know if Jim Cathcart, I know he'd be one who embraces, but how you do one thing is how you do everything. So
Yeah.
if you start off in chapter one with lack of clarity, you do lack of clarity in everything.
Yes. Yeah. So your marketing becomes the same thing,
Well,
and you're just throwing money into the
and
ether.
your sales cycle does the same thing, and your sales pitch does the same thing, and even your billing system does the same thing. So
Yeah.
my mentor, and you've met him indirectly through the athons, Barry Shore.
Yep.
He addresses your clarity with two complementing C's: clear, concise, compelling.
Yep.
And that is what your chapter one is about. Like get really clear about what your stand is, but so that they can actually be really clear about how you can help them too. It's both ways.
Yep. Oh, completely.
Yeah,
Right. And because so that's why chapter one, like, is the most important chapter.
I
Okay.
agree.
Because everything else is off. And if everything else is off, you're either going down, um,
Which
you
is
know,
most likely the case. And by the way, we're talking trajectory. Like if your trajectory is here, that still means you're going out of business. If it's here, you're going out of business slower. You have to
slowly.
have a pretty decent trajectory to match
Yep.
all the things. And when you say I'm not going to be clear, you just went down like this much. Like you just took yourself.
Yeah.
And when you go under that zero, you got to question why you're even in business.
Yeah. Well, because then it also becomes a death spiral,
Exactly.
right? Because you start trying to pull from A to pay for B,
Yep.
and then all of a sudden you're like, well, I've got to cut my costs down, and
Yeah, I can't afford to buy the ticket book anymore to beat the ticket. I got
exactly. Let alone the $1 book on Kindle. It's it's so important, and people just don't get it.
yeah,
And then it leads, if we want to talk about even just chapter 2, we get into your website. Okay. It's interesting because when I'm talking to the younger generation now, I say to them, do you know what top of fold means? And they none of them,
really.
right? Oh yeah, yeah, none of them. And so I have to explain that the newspaper top of fold, like if it bleeds, it leads. It's like the screaming headline at the top. The top of the fold is not verbal diarrhea.
Right.
It's a picture with a big headline, right? That's grabbing people's attention. Okay.
And to compliment that, it's an insinuation that the world is saying this is the place to be.
Yeah.
Social
Yeah.
social proof.
Yeah, exactly. I love that. And so you've got on the top of fold, are you being able to tell me, first of all, are you grabbing my attention? Second of all, are you letting me know that you can solve my problem? And are you letting me know whether or not you're uniquely, why you and not anybody else?
So let's talk about the anchors for a second, Brian.
Yeah,
Anchor one is clarity, which I agree with
yeah,
you, but what you're saying is if someone is not clear, does not have clarity in what their mission and what their purpose of their business and what their solution to the problems and what even the problem is, okay, you doing that could change their business X%. I mean, that's almost a priceless one, in my opinion.
Oh, completely. It's interesting when I sit down with people and we ask them and go, okay, well, what percentage do you think that would increase your revenue if we could get clarity on these issues?
Yeah.
Because I ask them for their elevator pitch and they go, well, I'm an optometrist.
They're like, why take the escalator?
Yeah, exactly. So especially when it stops.
Yeah, I love
Um,
Mitch Hedberg. Mitch Hedberg says there's no such thing as a broken escalator, just stairs.
yep, exactly.
Yeah, so
Except
that is
way.
priceless, and that's the mentorship. That's reading the book, and it's also talking to your team and saying, "Are we clear together? Are we clear?" And talking it out.
Yeah. Yeah. And then everybody on your team has got to be on the same page,
Right,
right?
100%.
And unfortunately, if they're not on the same page with the direction you want to go, then they either get on the same page or they need to go find work somewhere else because then you've got a break in the system, right? Because you've got to create a system that everybody in the organization is following. Cole Gordon refers to it as a conveyor belt.
Okay, so of the remaining 20, so the first two I'd call them not necessarily soft skills, but I'd call them mentorship and guru. The guru coming in and saying, how can you ever be in business if you don't know why you're in business or what you're doing in
Yeah.
business? So those parts are essential. But of the remaining 20, you make an outlandish comment that I will find X%, I will find X, given your businesses at this level, I will find that percentage of waste that's actually an anchor. Would you restate that?
Okay. Well, the guarantee that we give anybody, if you go through a review with us, we will find 100 times our fee in missing revenue, or we will immediately refund your money.
So
That's
if someone paid you 1,000 to give
Yep.
you that, and you could do something with $1,000, is that correct?
Well, we would have to find them.
The assessment.
Yeah, they would get the assessment, and for example, $1,000. We would have to find them $1,000, $100,000 in missing revenue,
Yep.
or we would immediately refund their money. And either way, they've had the assessment
Right.
done, they get the report, they get everything,
Right.
right? But we would go, nope, here you go. Here's our money back because you're firing on all cylinders. You don't need us.
Right. Yes. And that's very rare.
That has
I mean,
never happened yet.
yeah. Well, you're in a business where you see so much potential for failure and so much inefficiency is really a good way to call it, right?
Yeah.
So of the remaining 20, I don't want to go. I don't want to go through five. I changed my mind. What I want to do is just pick 1 to 3 and say these are actual cuts in a budget. Like we see this. This is a big problem you have because your website is more about communication. Your clarity is about communication. I'm looking for a little more of where you found waste, where you look at the balance sheet or you look at the profit loss and you go, mm-mm, no, it doesn't make sense.
Well, the biggest area, and you know Grant Cardone, who is a mentor of mine, um, he's like, you don't have an expense problem, you have a revenue problem,
Yep,
right? And that's where I focused. We don't get into expenses until the final chapter of the book,
I see.
okay? Because we're all about driving revenue. Okay. And you're doing it inefficiently. And one of the biggest areas, there's two that kind of combine with each other. But one of the biggest ones is follow-up. Okay. Um, when you actually try to sell somebody your product, okay, you only have about a 1 to 2% chance of being able to sell them the first time you speak to them because they're not in a buying mode at that point. They're in an information gathering mode.
Right,
The problem is, first of all, half of businesses that get a lead don't even bother to make that first pitch.
right.
Okay, the lead just gets squandered. Okay, they do nothing with it, which is amazing to me. But then out of that remaining half, half of those again give up after 2 tries. Okay, but yet those there's only about a 5% chance between those first 2 tries that they're going to buy from you. So the ones who win are the ones that continue following up. Okay, whether it's just with the traffic ticket business, I just fire him a quick text. And Grant would kick me in the butt for it, but I just send a quick text and go, "Hey, where are things at? Just wanted to touch base." You know how often I get an "oh crap" back? I completely forgot. I got distracted. I'll get the money and the ticket over to you today. Think 5 minutes later, the money's been transferred to my account.
Right.
You know, and all it took was a simple text. But you know, businesses don't do that. They don't follow up. You know, Grant has 100 different techniques to use for a follow-up. It's crazy. Um, but and get people on a drip campaign, okay, where you're just dripping out information to them because it's serving two purposes, okay? They've got to get to know you, like you, trust you before they buy from you, right? We know that. And so by providing information to them without even saying, "Hey, by the way, buy from me," just provide a service to them, provide something of value to them without expecting to get anything back. By doing that, you're gaining their confidence, okay? But you're also keeping you top of mind, okay? So when it comes time to move from information mode to purchase mode, well, I'm going to go to the person that has been reaching out to me the most because to me they care the most. And it also makes me think of them first.
That's very valuable. And how many times would you say the follow up could or should be?
80% of sales, it's been shown, are between the fifth and the 12th follow-up.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. You know, your follow ups when you send a testimonial expedite that
Yep.
experience. And you just checking in and seeing how they're doing, even is valuable.
Completely. Post-sale, especially,
Right.
right? To follow up, how's the product? Is it working for you? Getting feedback from them. Once again, it shows you care. Okay. And who's easier to sell to? A new client or an existing or prior client, right?
Right.
The existing or prior.
Exactly.
Okay. Four times easier to sell to.
Yeah.
Well, if you're still remaining top of mind on them, well, when it comes time to need another one, where are they going to go?
You know, I've learned the hard way this follow-up issue, and I'm not sure if you have this in your book. So if it isn't, we can add it if you want, because as the publisher, we can always make your book better.
You
But
got it.
I think the not the number one, but a very costly one in follow-up is when you satisfy the client and you don't capture the success of that in a testimonial.
Oh, completely.
That's a biggie because when they do that, they actually reaffirm for themselves. And if you post it and tag them, their friends get to see it, which is
Yep.
really cool. And I think the other one that I've seen that just the numbers work is, hey, I've helped you. Can you think of two or three other people that I can?
Yes.
And that's rare too, really.
It's rare if you ask for a referral that people are offended that
Exactly.
you ask. Okay. And you're more likely to get business from that
Right.
than just hoping they're going to remember you if somebody brings up that they've got the problem that your friend knows you've got the solution for, or your client, you know.
And that's
And go ahead.
I was going to
Sorry.
say that's a mindset shift, and no apology needed. We were both excited about this particular part of the conversation, which is your mindset. If you say, I don't want to ask for a referral because I feel like I'm intruding, that's exactly how it's going to feel. And if you do the referral question with, I'm committed because I love what I do and I want to serve others, then it's a very easy question to ask.
Yeah. And I love that. If you're looking from it in the way of who else can I serve,
Yep.
right? And you know what? Although it's a horrible question, and I'm not a fan of the question, the what's in it for me,
Yeah.
okay? Repeated studies have shown when you create an incentive program, a referral program, you get more referrals if people know, you know, if I do five, I'm going to get a $500 gift card to Amazon
Right.
or something like that. You know what I mean? But then you've also got to follow through. With one of the businesses that we did, we did a big, um, we sent out a big MailChimp thing. We did a big survey,
Mm-hmm.
and we told everybody who completed the survey got entered into a draw for a new spanky iPhone, right? Top of the line iPhone. Well, holy crow.
Yeah.
You know how many surveys we got back?
Yeah, I bet.
And but then we followed through on the day we did the draw, we got a hold, we went and bought it, we shipped it out, you know, and then you get that guy a testimonial from him going, got it, that's awesome.
Well, I wanted to just say that your bonus chapter that a lot of people don't even know about, that even you don't know about, is that you give free haircuts for people that give referrals for tickets, and
Uh,
they can have a nice haircut like us.
Yeah, yeah, I've got the clippers right in my bathroom.
Yeah,
So
the ballathon, most of those people went through your service and were just so happy about their new haircut. So I do want to take a commercial break for a second. This is not only self-serving, but it's the perfect message for us. So the upcoming Bald Boldathon is coming up, and I just wanted to say that October 14th, Brian will be in the mix. And by the way, I went to Military Influencer Conference. You would not believe how many of those folks have the right haircut. And you know what?
awesome.
There you are. There you are, my brother.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Thank you,
So,
sir.
well, all the thanks back to you. This is going to be pretty big because we have more of a bold influence coming into this particular picture. So, I think what your book is allowing people to do that's unwritten, but I think you should also consider adding is when you cut the anchors and you have abundance, you don't have to worry about yourself anymore. You can actually start serving the world, serve the community, and help with philanthropy. So this book has many tiers of, and very good tiers of, and TIERS, of why you'd want to read it and apply it. And I think you're right. The first chapter, if you don't have the first chapter in place, it's almost like saying, I'm going to do a great book, but I'm going to do a really crappy cover.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. So your book is invaluable. I'll just say it's a pleasure and an honor to have helped you take this and put it into a book, and have Daniel do an exceptional job of actually what it is to have freedom when you have cut enough anchors away that you're able to breathe and enjoy life, which is what it's supposed to be.
That's, I guarantee you, that's one of the biggest reasons why people got into business for themselves.
Yeah. And they realize soon after that they go, wow, I never knew I was going to have to work half days. And then you're like, half days not that bad. And they go, no, 12 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say half days. I was like, there's the catch.
Well, you're awesome. I want to say that both those books are just so cool because they both solve a problem that most people don't know that can be solved.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you.
So we're going to wrap up the show with our rapid fire.
Okay.
And I know this is going to be a little intimidating because I'm coming at you quick with these questions, and you got to come back really fast. I mean,
I'm going to do my best. I'm sure I'll freeze, but let's do it.
well, you know, I'm going to add one bonus for you. I might even add two. So these ones are going to be modest rapid fire. So why is bald so cool? Like,
Honestly, I think it's because you're really expressing yourself, and it kind of gives you this extra confidence. Once you get used to it,
yeah.
first of all, it's easy to maintain. It gives you just this sense of self and confidence, because not a lot of people are willing to do it.
Do you know that in the baldathon, halfway through, someone said, "I'd like this to be the symbol for for you did a great job," and they just went like this, and it was, and it started taking off, and everyone started doing, with right hand or left, but it was like that's a salute instead of this. It was like
Nice.
you
There
nailed
you go.
it. Number two, and these are modest. We're going into real rapid fire afterwards, but you've been in like four of these. You're a yes person. You hear an opportunity and you step up and you really take it. What would you say to people about the community, the quality of people? Because you got to host, you didn't just step in a guest, you stepped in a host. And so you get on average 7 spots instead of one. And one of these, it wasn't a smileathon, but it was the authorthon, and it was the baldathon that you were in 2 of them, and you really stepped up. Tell people, tell the audience why that was important, or what shifted, what happened.
Well, first of all, you get to meet incredible people. Okay. Like literally life-changing people. You get to make connections that you wouldn't otherwise make, especially as a host. Okay. And, I'm sitting there, and every single person is coming on, and I'm like, damn, I need that book. Damn, I need that book. So while I'm hosting and they're talking, I'm literally on Amazon buying their book. And,
Yeah,
and
you bought 60 books.
yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you can't read them all at once, but the biggest task is remembering to buy them. And once you buy them, you can look at them later and take your time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but they're incredible people. You get to hear their stories, and they've all got a life-changing story or a life-changing message behind them. Everybody's doing incredible things, some on a smaller level, some on a huge level. And it's the whole community is just incredible and supportive.
With the baldathon, we had 2 women that took off and showed their beautiful bald head for practically the first time, or they revisited that, and we had 2 guys that shaved their head, Daryl Hulse and Evans
Yeah.
Morrow, and he has that book Love, and it's just I
Yep.
said, what amazing people, and this platform is allowing an efficient way to get to know people that could change your life.
Yes. Completely.
So you're going to
Completely.
be in the one this Saturday. It's Friday and Saturday, and you're also going to be in the Bald Boldathon. And what's cool is we're not just publishing your message and we're not just creating a campaign, but we're leveling you up that no matter where people look, they find you.
Oh,
And
it's what you guys do is incredible and unique, and you and your team are so supportive along the entire way, and I'm so grateful.
and we are too, because we attract people that we can really stand for. And it really does come down to there are some amazing people in the world that have amazing content, but they don't have anyone that knows about it. So they feel frustrated. And in some cases they feel depressed.
Yep.
And it's a perfect marriage when you have phenomenal content with a sound distribution system because they need to be together.
Yes, completely. And I didn't understand that, but once you've made it clear to me, but more importantly, I've now gone through it, so I have the personal testimony to it as to how important all of those things come together that you guys do.
Well, after this year and us having both your businesses grow because of the campaign, I see you. Um, I see you as a children's author. You seem like
Oh, just wait, I've got one.
I
Me,
figured you
me,
did.
me and my daughter have got one. You're gonna love it.
That's awesome. We were at an event recently, and this is the new platform. So really, our parent company, Perfect Publishing, had to take on a new look that was more gladiator type because it was about leaders that are really at the highest level. But what I didn't realize in the pandemic is that our future leaders, my son specifically, would cause a complete lane. There was confusion at Military Influencer Conference if we were in the children's business or in the adult. And I said, we're in both. We're in
Yeah.
both.
Nice.
So
Yeah. No, Kenny's got a whole library of books for himself, man. He's awesome.
and he's going to be sharing his smile, and he's actually going to be at the Poet event. If Canadians are very very smart people. I don't need to tell you this, but there's a thing called the Poet event that we're doing. Let me get to this. There we go. So this is the Poets United. That's the logos, and let me see if I can find. There it is. Okay, is that cool? And
That is very
do
cool.
you know this gentleman here, Tony Barnett? I met him, I don't know, 5 years ago. He's the one who brought us to Library of Congress. I just met her recently at Global Women. And so they're the reason that we are doing this. But these are some other kind of poets. And I don't know if you recognize all these, but there's Edgar Allan Poe right there.
Okay.
But this is an opportunity for people to share their poem. So ironically, Brian, I've never asked you if you like poetry, but Kenny has a poem about the bottom line, and it's about not making excuses, and he's going to read it that day. But if you know any poets, that's the day before the International Smile Day. And by the way, I don't pick these days; these are global holidays.
Yeah.
So our rapid fire, and thank you for that diversion because I felt like that was missing from the show, so I just wanted to bring that up real quick.
No
So
problem.
rapid fire, Brian, what book changed your life?
Um, Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins.
Anthony Robbins. Yeah, that's a biggie, and
Yeah.
that's
And a
an
biggie. Yeah.
yeah, he really went into the studio and went deep, and it's a great Audible series as well.
Yep.
So number two, what movie inspires you?
Um, Inspires me.
You can say,
Um,
I'll tell you what, for you because you're so awesome, you can pick the one that inspires you the most and the one that you enjoy the most. How about that for?
um, oh, okay. Well, the one that I enjoy the most, um, Lord of the Rings. I can't pick one, the whole
Okay.
thing, but on the extended Blu-ray,
Of course.
right?
Don't say it the obvious, Brian, please. On this
Yeah.
show, we have a very mature audience.
I'm sorry.
And what one changed your life the most, or inspires you?
Well,
Inspires you the
honestly, I got to see Chariots of Fire in theater.
most? Wow,
That would have been, gosh, what, 45 years ago?
that was a beautiful
Um,
movie.
yeah, that was incredible. I loved to run at that point, and
Yeah,
that just drove me.
mm,
It was just like, holy crow, that's just incredible.
yeah,
So,
and that music too.
yeah,
Vangelis.
yeah, I have no
That was
clue. I was 10.
Well, Vangelis was the composer. Oh yeah, you're just a
Okay.
young buck. Yeah, you're going to be hitting the big 30 or 40 next year. That's awesome.
Yeah, pretty close. Pretty close. I like how you round down.
All right, so next one would be what song gets you going?
What song gets me going?
Yeah, what song do you love? Just you can't get enough of it.
Come With Me Now, by I believe it's the Congos, I believe is who it is. It was actually the theme song or the background song for American Gladiator. Um the or whatever the where they do all the hanging and the climbing and everything like that. Um I forget what that show is called, but
Well,
yeah.
don't worry. I'm going to help you out. We don't normally do this, but you gave me a ringer. I've never heard of this one, so I'll have to check it
Yep.
out. Come go with
Yep,
me.
this is
All
it.
right, by the Congos. Okay. And next question, sir. Who's your hero?
Who's my hero?
Yeah, who's your hero?
Honestly, my brother,
Awesome. What you say his name?
Terry Livingston.
Terry Livingston. Awesome.
Yep.
That's great. And then who would you like to meet if you could meet anybody?
Um, I would, that's such a hard call. I don't mean to put it off, but I'd love to be able to look Donald Trump face to face.
Would it be required that he shaved his head?
Um, well, isn't it already shaved?
Our second highest level of silliness in the show. All right.
No,
So
I'd love, just because he's got, like him or hate him, he has this aura of invincibility around him.
he
And
certainly does.
I just like to know what it would be like to be in that presence.
Well, I've never done this before, but you're in the presence of him. What would you ask him? What's the one question you'd ask him to get an answer?
Um, you know, I think well, because my problem is I don't know whether or not I'm going to get a straight answer.
Well, let's assume you would get a straight answer.
Um, do you honestly believe that everything that you do is looking out for America's best interests?
I will not say it, but I think I know the answer. All right. So we'll move to the last one. Are you ready?
Yep.
What quote do you live by?
And I butcher it every time, but it's a quote from Jim Cathcart, and Jim is just amazing. Look him up. The guy's absolutely incredible. But it is basically to the effect of what would the person that you want to be do with the things you need to do today?
I love it. And we'll tell you what, we'll give Jim Cathcart a shout out. We'll take a little modest, that is Mr. Jim Cathcart.
There he is.
And, you know, if you go to one of his events, you'll be happy you did so. And
Oh,
I'm going to divert to one more person that I think is awesome. Can I do one more person?
you sure can.
This guy. Love this guy. I mean, not only does he wear a great sweater, but
Oh
he
my
can.
gosh, I've got the same one on today. That's
Well,
too funny.
no, but what's funny is every single time I've ever talked to you, you have that one on. Like you must have 100 of them.
I have quite a few. Every year we go to Epcot, I pick up a new sweater in Norway, the Norway Pavilion.
Mhm.
I pick up a new sweater there every year.
So that guy that I just showed, I don't care whether you talk about him or you talk about you. How do people connect with him or you um, to learn more to celebrate? You can pick this guy here or you can pick yourself. How do people reach out, connect, celebrate you?
Okay. Well, first of all, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Brian Livingston. You can also reach out to me. The website is waylot.com, waylott.com. To remember it, Waylot stands for What Are You Leaving on the Table? That's all about how we're going to find literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars in missing revenue for our business. Yes, it is like a business colonoscopy that we do for people. Um, we guarantee it. The other way is it's Brian at waylot.com. So it's Brian for that. And the other website is thetrafficticket.guru. So if you want us to review your evidence, you can go on, you can book a time with us, and we will review your evidence and, you know, pick up either of the books, guys. It's you got a ticket, it's going to help you in court immensely. And if you got a business, it's going to help you incredibly.
You're awesome, Brian. I'm just so honored to have done both these books with you, and I look forward to you experiencing everything you're supposed to experience when you have a tool with great content that gets the right distribution to help the world. So thank you.
It's already the rocket's already taken off. I'm looking forward to the ride.
All right. Well, you have a great day. This is Dr. Smiley Show. If you don't connect with Brian Livingston, you are missing a great opportunity to have a friend and someone that'll make your life better. Have a great day.